This is a breaking news alert from 24-Hour News 8.
You're looking at live pictures out of Lansing right now. Amanda Jarrett standing by where protesters are already gathering around the State House. Their march down Michigan Avenue expected to start in just a few minutes here. When that all happens, we'll break into programming. We'll cover the whole thing live.
Today, the legislature is expected to vote on making Michigan a right-to-work state, preventing unions from collecting dues from non-members that they represent.
Let's send it straight over to Rick Goblin, who's live on the state capitol lawn there with more on what's happening out there. Hey, Rick.
Well, part of what's going to happen in a few minutes, what Amanda is going to see is a big group of Teamsters who have not yet come up here to this already large crowd, and we'll talk more about that later. But let's talk about the process. In just a few minutes, the State House will convene at 10 o'clock this morning. They'll come into the chambers. They'll find the chambers are filled in the gallery with all of these union protesters who are up there. They'll have more media than's been in there for any time during this session, and they're going to start debating these two bills that were passed in the Senate just last Thursday. I was in the chambers this morning at about 7:30 and started talking to members who were already there. I talked to one Republican leader and to the Democratic leader about their take about what's going to happen today.
Everybody can attest we do plan to run the labor freedom bill today, pass it out of the House, confirm what the Senate passed last week, and we will be here as long as it takes to get that done. The gallery's open. You can hear the chanting in the background. This is democracy at work, and we will be here to have a healthy, robust debate on the bill and the merits of the legislation, and we will vote when we have gotten through all our debate.
I never would have expected it. I mean, this state is a strong labor state. The people in the state appreciate what labor has done for them over these years, raised the standard of living to the point that it is. I would have never thought that we've regressed so far to be in this position.
So that's what you've got. The setup is there. The State House will convene at 10 o'clock this morning, and when they do, they'll start taking up those bills. So we'll be here to continue to cover this. We've got this covered from all angles. We've devoted resources to this because it's so vitally important and perhaps one of the biggest policy changes in the history of this state. So we'll be here all day to bring you every single angle. Now, Brett and Emily, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Rick.
Let's check in now with Amanda Jarrett. She is on Michigan Avenue, and she watched as thousands of people streamed by her earlier this morning. Just a few minutes ago, we brought that to you live. Amanda?
Gathered around the State House, several hundred people deep from the steps there. They're rallying, and things are going to heat up here soon. As Rick mentioned, the House is going to go into session here in just a few minutes. And I want to show you here on the sidewalks what's happening right now. This is a much different scene than we showed you within the past hour. You can see people still trickling in. It's kind of slowing down, though, right now. And these are a lot of people that were stuck in traffic this morning. You know, this has been a huge traffic issue as hundreds and thousands of people were descending upon the Capitol. And we talked to state troopers, and they said we may see another organized march this morning. They're not exactly sure what time that may happen or how many people that may involve, but that would be a lot of those people that were stuck in traffic on the interstate trying to get into town. But again, this is what you're seeing right now, thousands upon thousands. We asked the state troopers for an exact number. Earlier this morning, they said 5,000 to 6,000 were marching. At this time, it looks like far more than that, and we can't get an exact number for you, but as Rick said, he's in the thick of it, and he's seen huge crowds. Just within the last half hour, we saw probably about 1,000 people, if we were trying to put a number on it, passing our live van that's set up here on Michigan Avenue. So just huge crowds descending upon the State House. And again, things about to heat up as the House will go into session, vote on those bills at some point. And again, a lot of people here very emotionally charged as they await this vote and try to voice their opinions on the right to work legislation. We'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Amanda. From Michigan Avenue, back to the Capitol lawn. Now, Rick Gablin, let's check in with you again here because as Amanda's talking, they're going to go in session. Any ideas as to how soon that'll happen and how soon they'll start voting?
Well, I really don't know. I mean, I think there are two schools of thought. On one hand, there are some members who would like to go in, bring these things up, get the debate over as quickly as possible and vote on them so they can move on to other issues and maybe diffuse part of this crowd. On the other hand, there are a lot of people who have a lot to say about this, and some of those people who would like to be heard inside that chamber will never make it in because there is such a big crowd here at the Capitol. Joe LaFurgey's been keeping an eye on that. And Joe, you made an interesting point. Where did we start out this morning?
Yeah, Ray, I want to show you. I don't know if you can see it past this sign right here, but there's a lamppost right there. That is where we started, 40 minutes, maybe an hour ago. That's where we were standing, and we were on the fringe at that point. Now look, just take a look all over this crowd. They are coming in from north, south, east, west. All these folks here to join in this rally. And as you said, security is very tight here. I want to show you the south entrance of the Capitol right here. You can see a large contingent of Michigan State Police keeping guard over that. Obviously at the front door on the steps, heavy police presence there. Yeah, it's interesting, Rick, as we've been standing here talking to people as they walk past, I came across two perspectives. One, from a union member. I ran into a guy who retired from the old 36th Street stamping plant in Grand Rapids. That plant now closed, not even a building there anymore. I asked him, okay, what does this do to the unions? He said, I don't think this is going to do anything to the unions. The dues-paying members know what the value of the union is. They'll continue to pay those. What he was upset, and what we have heard over and over again, is the politics of all this. There's a lack of trust, obviously, towards the business community and Republicans. There's also another school of thought of a person that a young man who came up said he was a union organizer out in the East Coast at one point in time, and told me that unions need to take this as a sort of way to build a new mousetrap, if you will, to show their members how much value there is, and that they shouldn't really worry about right to work. They should just go to work in showing members again the value of the unions and what they can do for them. So that is some of the perspective we're hearing from the folks here during this demonstration, both sides. So Rick. Interesting discussions out here.
Yeah, I think it is. And I think one of the things that you're going to see as the day goes along and as these crowds continue to grow out here, that more and more people are going to make sure that they have their voices heard. In fact, one gentleman over here is trying to get his voice heard on our live broadcast right now. If you're looking inside the Capitol, and I think we have those pictures, the State House is now convening. This is the beginning of the session that we believe will pass those two bills that came out of the Senate last week. And those two bills would take Michigan as the 24th right-to-work state in this country. So this is a big step. This is a policy change that nobody would have really predicted. Now, some Republicans say, look, if Prop 2 had never happened in this last election cycle, this might not be happening now. Some union supporters and Democrats say, no such thing. They believe this was on their agenda from the beginning. But at the end of the day, whatever the reasoning, it would appear that this is the day that right to work is going to become law in this state. Something, again, that was not easy to predict even just a few months ago. So here we are as that chamber starts to fill up. They're taking roll call. People will check in, and we're going to go up. I'm going to head up to the chamber right now so we can watch that process, and we'll be bringing that to you throughout the day. We'll also be making sure that we keep you updated with the latest information out here. Joe and Amanda and Leon are all going to be out here, and we'll be giving you every angle of this. Again, what we think is a very important policy change here in the state of Michigan.
All right, thank you so much, Rick. We'll let you go, and you can get inside the House chamber there to find out exactly what's happening and keep us up to date throughout the day here. As we were talking about there earlier, though, the House is in session now. They just did the invocation, and they've taken their roll call. There are a lot of other different kind of things they have to do. First, some little housekeeping they're going to do initially, but then they are expected to vote on right to work.
Hearing from the state police here on Twitter that the Capitol is at capacity. They're letting one person in for every person that comes out. A full house there today.
Oh yeah, and a full lawn too. All sorts of people out there that are voicing their opinions one way or another. And of course, we're going to be covering this thing from the beginning to end. We're going to tell you everything that you need to know all day long, on air, online, woodtv.com, as